the best slalom field we've ever had at the Moomba Masters. We've got all the world's great slalom skiers here, and just to make the 6 yesterday, it was a tremendous amount of pressure, and the top guys we've got on the water today, I think that this will be a spectacular event.
This is Steve Cochran from New Zealand. He's 24 years of age. He's ranked number 23 in the slalom. One of the best skiers ever to come out of New Zealand. A regular visitor down here, and he currently trains in the United States. A big chance today. This is the green shortening. 13-metre rope.
Then having to start off on the 14.25-metre line. Now, Steve, it's interesting to note Steve's opted to go on to the next run up the 13-metre line. So he's actually starting on the 13-metre line, or the, as we knew it, the 42 off. Looking to give away his 14.25-metre line. I'd say the reason why he's done this is possibly because of the wind condition. I'd say he's probably wanted to come back on the 12-metre line into the headwind. As I said before, the headwind sort of helps to slow the ski down a little bit coming into the void. This makes it that much more easier for you, I suppose, if you could call it easy.
He's a fine slalom skier, one of the best looking slalom skiers in the world. Nerves usually has a big effect on Steve's skiing. He's very, very talented, and on some big occasions he hasn't handled the pressure quite as well as he should have, but he's in the final of the Moomba Masters, and expect good results from Steve.
He must, of course, complete that pass to be credited with all the boys that he would have made had he skied the easier length. He's done that.
Normally in a normal water ski tournament they'd start with a full length rope and they build up, but at the Moomba Masters we make them start on the very, very short rope straight away, and some of these skiers like Steve have opted to even start with a shorter line, which is their choice. As long as they score that first 6 points in the shorter line, they get credited with all the earlier runs that they've opted not to use.
Bit of gamesmanship too, Ian, isn't it?
Yes, especially with wind conditions like they are on the Yarra River.
And it certainly is quite windy here today on the Yarra River, but Steve around number 1, he's got a good start there. Around number 2, he's pretty much at ease here today. Around number 3, strong pull through the weights. Around number 4, through the weights. A little bit narrow on 5, but I'd say he'll be okay to run the 12-metre pass. It's a pretty good effort from Steve. I think he'll be pretty happy with that run.
Great speed, of course, just a little bit faster for the men too.
That's right, the men coming in at 58 kilometres an hour, on the old language 36 mile per hour. Steve qualified yesterday with 2 boys on the next pass on the 11.25-metre line. So I think Steve will be reasonably happy. He ran that 12-metre line quite well.
Actually, there was only 1.5 boys between the top 6 qualifiers, 31.5 to 33.
Just shows how tight this men's slalom event is, as you see here on the rerun here for Steve Cochran. Working quite hard here. Good turn there, good strong pull through the weights. What a strong slalom skier, Steve. Getting around number 5 boy here. A little bit of slack around 5, but he's towards the end of the run here. Enough pull there to get him around number 6 now through the exit gates. He will be happy with that, Steve.
Well, 3 skiers qualified with 32 boys yesterday, and one of them was Australia's Simon Hill.
The 27-year-old South Australian, ranked 17th in the world in slalom, has made the finals of Moomba before, but has yet to win a medal. This year, he feels he has as much chance as anyone.
Everybody in that field has all cleared 11.25 in record capability competition, and if they do that on the day, they'll win the tournament. So, you know, it depends on who's tough enough to handle the pressure and handle the competition. Moomba is unlike any other tournament in the world. The pressure is really intense right from day one, because you have to perform 3 rounds in a row, and so whoever copes with that the best will win.
27-year-old Simon Hill, and he's next up. But we're still with Steve Cochran.
There's so many will go to Steve Cochran's run first.
Strong pull through the gates there. He's lost a handle around number 1. He might have been pulled a little bit narrow there. We'll perhaps pick that up later on the replay there, but he was a little bit narrow around number 1, perhaps hitting number 1 boy and pulling the handle out and knocking him off balance, and of course Steve sitting in the water.
I guess I'm saying what I said before though. I was just nervous because he's so capable of doing this pass, and he must have just started a little too narrow. Just stretched too hard for one. He hit it. Yeah, it looks like he did hit it. So wouldn't reach round number one. Of course, he'll be very disappointed with that pass.
Simon Hill, our next competitor in the final of the men's slalom, will be back at his first pass after this. Simon Hill, 27-year-old from South Australia, and he's starting his passes on the yellow shortening. That's 28 off, 14.25 metres.
Yeah, pretty much a warm-up pass here for Simon. As you can see here, he's round number 6 out through the exit gates there. Simon electing to start his run on the 14.25 metre line, unlike Steve Cochran, who started on the 13-metre line. Again, it would come down to wind conditions, and whatever I'd say, Simon would be looking at his 11-metre line here, perhaps running that into a slight headwind, having the advantage of the headwind on his 11-metre line. He's got a lot of work to do before he gets there. Sitting down in the water there waiting for his to come back on the 13-metre line now.
To give you an idea of the standard of the final here at the Moomba Masters, the skiers that missed the cut were Bruce Neville, Neil Ritchie from Victoria, fine slalom skier, didn't make it. Mark Crone, a slalom specialist from the States, didn't make the final cut. And of course our world champion Brett Thurley, which is very disappointing, but he was the only one with a real excuse. He had a terrible crash on in the jump event in the warm-up practice on Friday and injured his shoulder, and Brett was very disappointed not to be able to ski at his best.
Simon here, round number 4.
And we welcome viewers through the Prime Network to our telecast. We're in the early stages of the men's slalom final, and we're watching our second competitor, Simon Hill from South Australia. Simon Hill, our second competitor in the men's slalom final. That was his pass on the 13-metre rope. He did it fairly easily too. The first competitor was Steve Cochran from New Zealand, who gave a score unofficially of 25.5. Simon should be able to beat that barring accidents without too many problems.
He's a very big guy from South Australia, a very powerful skier, and he only slalom skis now, one of the slalom specialists in the event. And he's really looking forward to putting a bit of pressure on the rest of the field. He's always wanted to get a place at the Moomba Masters, and for many years now he's been able to make the finals but not go any further. That's a bit of the Bruce Neville fan club, I think, over there.
Bruce is not in the final. He didn't qualify. He had a score yesterday of 27.5. Mick Neville is our top qualifier in the men's slalom. He got 33 yesterday to qualify ahead of Mike Schillander and Andy Mapple, whom we'll be seeing in action in just a few moments.
Yes, there's only 2.5 points between the leader of the event here, which is Mick Neville, and Steve Cochran, who is 6th seed going into today's final. Simon here, you can see him coming underneath the bridge there, coming out to his right hand, out to the left-hand side here. Cutting through the entrance gates there. Round number 1. Round number 2. He'll have to work pretty hard on this run. Certainly not a warm-up pass for Simon. Round number 4, but he does look good. Round number 5. Gee, he's looking good today, Simon. He is a slalom specialist, and he's run that one fairly well, I'd say. Should be quite happy with that run.
He knows the top skiers really working hard, very hard between the weights, and the whole idea in slalom is not to be pulled and broken forward off your edge. We'll watch the replay as he cuts through the weights. Round 1, must hold the edge through the weights As soon as he's broken forward or pulled off the edge, that ski's pulled off the edge, you lose tremendous ground and you can't get to the next buoy, especially these very, very short. At the moment, probably the rope just reaches the buoy, so they've got to get their body round the outside of those buoys. He's looking really good. Simon Hill, South Australia's #1 slalom skier.
Simon, you'd have to say he's capable of running this next pass here.
Yeah, I believe so.
All right, well, while we wait for the water to just calm down a little bit, let's go back to Mark now, and he has Steve Cochran with him, and I guess, Mark, you'd be a bit disappointed.
Oh, he certainly is. We'll have a chat to the big Kiwi. Steve, your performance there today, you looked so good at #1, and it looked like you were going on to a big pass.
Yeah, well, I had it in my mind, Mark, that I wanted to get down the pass, and I knew I'd have to get a good one to get down the pass and put the pressure on the rest of the guys, but it's just a little narrow there and just sort of dove on #1, and that was me.
The conditions out there today, mate, are they a little better?
Yeah, a little better than yesterday. The wind's down a fraction today, and it's not so rough, not so much of a wind chop anyway. A little bit rolly out there, but it's pretty good.
Well, you've got the score on the board. Actually, Steve, we might get you to take us through this run of Simon Hill.
Well, Simon's out there, and he's just thrown a ski around #1. He'll get a score of 1, and unfortunately be ahead of me, but that's the way it goes. It's a little tougher out there than I think everyone's thinking, so our scores are on the board. We'll see how it happens.
Okay, well, thanks very much, Steve, and congratulations. We'll sit back and see how you go.
It's a frustrating time being Australian skiers, and you have to wait to see what the opposition's going to do. And Simon coming to grief early here in this run. Does he get that one?
Just squeaked round there, stood on the back of the ski, and Honey scores 1 point on that run.
Well, I guess he'd be a little bit disappointed with that too, but a shake of the head, the body language perhaps tells it all. Or maybe we can go back to Mark and get a few words with him. Mark, what does he feel like? What happened?
Well, thanks, Pete. We've got him straight out of the water. Simon, a little unfortunate there at buoy 1.
Yeah, I really messed up that gate, Mark. I did the same thing yesterday, and I was really trying to concentrate on getting a stronger gate entry. Couldn't put it together. I don't know, the buoy seems a little further ahead than what I'm used to.
You look good. You look like you started off well, and the later passes were going well. You've obviously been skiing pretty well.
I've been skiing well this summer. Yeah, had a good weekend last weekend up at Auski. I skied well to qualify yesterday, and with 35 down today, felt a lot better than yesterday, and I really felt like I was sort of in with a chance. But I mean, that's put me in the lead, but there's no way it's going to hold. I don't think unless we get a stretch of bad weather, which probably won't happen.
Well, we'll see how you go. You've got the score on the board. Thanks, Simon.
Okay, thanks very much, Mark.
Right, Mark, and Simon Hill, second competitor number 2, Drew Ross from Canada, who also qualified with 32. Next up when we return. 3 years of age from Canada, currently ranked number 5 in the world in the slalom, a slalom expert, making his second visit to the Masters. A very good start last year though for him, a disastrous trip actually, and certainly looking good in 1994. He's the current Canadian slalom champion and record holder, and he made that pass, the other one off the 14.25 metre rope, as well, I guess, as we would expect.
That's right, Peter. Pretty much a warm-up run, the 14.25 metre line, just enough to get them into their rhythm, get them thinking properly. So you will come back on the 13 metre line here. They'll have to work a little bit harder on this run, but still, again, it's a run you'd expect them to run. Round number 2. This is slalom specialist Drew Ross from Canada. Round number 4. John cut through the weights there. Round number 5. Not too many worries for him, as you would expect. Drew Ross, age 23-year-old. Full-time slalom skier nowadays. And this, I believe, is his second visit to Australia.
It was a little bit warmer last year too when he was here.
He's been moving up the world ranking list over the past few years very dramatically in the slalom event, and the Canadians haven't had a really powerful slalom skier for quite a while. They've been coming out with a lot of trick specialists, and just recently the Llewellyns and Jimmy Clooney have been getting up there in the jump, but he's the first sign for a few years of a really top slalom skier out of Canada, and really making Canada do very well.
Mike Schillander is with me. Mike, we were watching earlier your jump fall. Jump's not the name of the game today. It's all on slalom today.
Right now it's slalom, yeah. So I'm not jumping too much anymore. My body's
feeling real good, not taking those falls.
Of course, slalom here today is going to be a great competition. You've got Mike Neville leading and Andy Mapple. Can you take it out?
Well, there's a lot more than just those two skiers. You got Lou Ross and also Simon Hill, that pretty great score on the board. So it's tough, I think.
Would you regard this as one of the toughest fields at Moomba over the years?
Yeah, it sure is.
Okay, now your own skiing coming into this event, Mike, are you slaloming well?
Not too bad. This is early season for us, but I'm doing pretty good.
Okay, we wish you well out there this afternoon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike Schillander.
Thanks, Mark. And withdrew Ross. And he didn't last too long on that one.
He really blew number one. Really blew it gladly.
Just looking back to see perhaps if he hit anything. I can't see anything in the water that might have caused that accident. You might be able to pick it up on replay. Often after heavy rain here you can get drink cups and such things floating down the course, but we haven't had heavy rain for a few days now. The course is looking pretty good. I don't think he hit anything. Ooh, bubbled.
Really broke at the waist round one, and the ski instantly went off its edge and it was all over. Oh, he might have actually hit it as well, do you think?
It's pretty narrow on number one there. I don't think he got a really good gate boy there. I think he might have pulled a little bit soft through the gates there, and that's made him a little bit narrow around number one. Be disappointed with that, Drew. I'm sure he was expecting to run that run and come back on the 11.25 metre line.
Officially he's been given 25.5 points, so Simon Hill still well in the lead with 31 points. With three of the world's greatest slalom skiers still to come. Andy Mapple, world's number one, is next on the water, followed by Schillander. I think Mike's number two anyway. And of course our own Michael Neville, who's so used to this Yarra River and really put in the top score yesterday, and this is the sort of conditions Mike Neville revels in.
Well, Andy Mapple's no stranger to the course either. He's getting to the veteran stage now, 32 years of age, and the world number one ranked slalom skier. Currently he lives in Florida, married to Dina, who we've also seen out here on quite a few occasions. He was fifth in the 1993 world titles in the slalom. One of the great slalom skiers in the sport's history, and the reigning slalom champion here at the Masters. Learn to ski. Well, that's not a bad idea. 0055 60184, Ian. Now, what happens if you ring that?
Yes, if you ring that number over the next 2 or 3 days, they'll record your inquiry, and they'll get back to you and tell you the program of where we're going to teach you to ski this year. And that's a good program for anybody interested in staying up the sport of water skiing. We have Lake Mulwala is our one of the places that we're doing a lot of water skiing now. The Lake Mulwala Club has its own special lake just been built for water skiing about 2 kilometres out of Yarrawonga, and it's probably one of the venues we might be using.
Great spot up there. I've sunk 3 times when I was rowing a few years back. It can get pretty rough, but I think a couple of weeks back when you were up there, beautiful conditions, weren't they?
That's right, yes. Beautiful up around that area there, Yarrawonga, Mulwala area.
Andy Mapple, a champ in action.
Not too many slalom events that Andy Mapple hasn't won around the world. Here he is here, coming in on 14.25 metre line, round number 3, heading for number 4, looking good, looking great. Strong pull through the wakes, round number 5. Will not be any problems at all for Andy on these first couple of runs. Andy's it's certainly one of the greatest slalom skiers that I've ever seen any water.
But as you said, a perfectionist.
Well, he's 32 now. I guess you'd call him a veteran in just about any sporting terminology. But the way he's skiing, you could probably think he'd go on for many years yet.
Yes, Pete, I think Andy gets better and better every year.
I'd agree.
As you can see here, coming in round number 3 again. Pretty much a warm-up run for Andy. 13 metre line, round number 4. Strong pull through the weights. No trouble at all. round number 6 now through the exit gates.
It's your second time at the Moomba, and you struggled last year as well. A very disappointing result, I imagine, today.
Yes, I'm very disappointed after posting a top score yesterday, one boy behind the lead. I opted to run the difficult 12-meter pass down course in hopes of completing the 38 running the other way. I'm quite disappointed.
And I'm wondering about the conditions. Do you struggle particularly on this rough water? How much time at home do you spend on difficult water?
We try to vary our conditions all the time and train in difficult conditions. The most difficult condition, particularly for the skiers from overseas, the Northern Hemisphere, is this is the beginning of our season. We've been varying some cold conditions through the spring over in the US, and it's tough to come mentally tough immediately. I felt very prepared for this tournament, and I definitely am disappointed.
The competition is so close. Would you care to put a wager on the winner now?
Any of these next three men, Neville, Mapple, Schillander, are good for a win on any given day. You can look particularly to Andy to ski smoothly and consistently. Mick the same, and Mike. Anything can happen. Anything can happen here. I will tell you, it'll be exciting.
Can I ask you to talk us through this run from Andy Mapple?
Okay, Andy, slight bobble on the gate, but he's in good condition. Strong too. He's well with the course now. More working on timing than anything, just trying to maintain his composure. And he's early into 5-ball, and that's about as good a 35 off pass you can see down course.
Well, I think you're going to do me out of a job. That was terribly well done. Now, a bit of gossip. I think they say that you do very well with the Australian girls, and that doesn't surprise me particularly, but you have a girlfriend in Australia?
I've got a young lady that I fancy here. Sure. Can't mention any names. Wouldn't want her boyfriend to hear.
Oh dear, that was a cheap shot. I'm sorry about that. All right, and will we see you here in Moomba next year?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Drew Ross.
Andy Mapple making it look easy. And just while Kate was talking to Drew, we were working out what the record was here at Moomba. We confirmed that Andy Mapple is the record holder, and I think it's three boys off the 10.75 rope.
Yes, it is. And there's a good chance that all these three skiers will get up near that today. Andy's in with the shot now to take the lead, put the pressure on the rest of them.
And you'll come back on the 11.25 metre line. It's interesting to note that at this particular line length that Andy will be coming back on, that's actually 0.25 of a metre short of the buoy, and that is, if you stretch the rope out at right angles to the boat, it would come up shorter than the actual buoy. So he's got to use the length of his body. He's got to use his body to actually get around the buoy.
That's where we tall people do have an advantage, Glenn, isn't it?
That's right, Peter. Here's Andy here. All important. The gates here coming up. Coming right through the gates. Really good number one, I'd say. Strong pull through the weights. Great number two. Hard pull. Oh no. Can you hang on? And three at 11.25. I'd say Andy'd be a little bit disappointed with that run. I think he'd be looking for a bit more than that.
Well, the two on the dock will be thinking now we've got a chance. Three is beatable. Still, I'd like to have three score three at that rope length.
So he's got the score
for the rest of them to chase.
Let's go down to Mark.
Peter, Andy Mapple with me. Andy, that's a pretty good score for these next two guys to beat.
Yeah, I think it's going to take more than that though. Conditions felt pretty nice out there. It felt a little better than when I skied yesterday. I was last out yesterday, so 35 downwind's not too bad at all. And then coming back, it's kind of a nice little wind coming back at the 38. And I didn't get a very good one, so I was real late to 2, and that's what I was really looking for.
Right, we might get to 3. We might just take a quick look at the replay here, just so you can talk us through what's happening.
I think that was my number 2 right there, and then all I could do was just pull all the way. And I was fortunate just to get on the outside of 3, so I just went for the full point. So yeah, it's going to make one of the guys have to make a turn on number 3 and get to number 4. I got really stood up real bad there. So. I got a good 2 considering how late I was, but there was no way I was going to make a turn at 3. I was running too fast. It's a big difference between 3 buoys and having to get to number 4. If I'd have fallen around number 3, then the guys could just stand up around 3 and get 3. So just to make them go work hard and they're going to have to get to number 4.
All right, well, congratulations, Andy. You've got the score on the board, and we'll see how these next two go.
Thanks, Mike.
And pretty good couple to come to. Mike Schillander and Mick Neville will be back with their runs after this. This is Mike Schillander, who's currently ranked number 6 in the world in the Slalom event, and he starts his passes at the 28 off rope, or 14.25 metres.
Yes, the skiers, the older skiers especially, talk in the rope length that's been taken off the rope, which probably confuses the public at home. But actually, officially, they should talk the length of rope, which is in metres. So he was on the 14.25 metre rope, which is from the ski pole to the skier's handle. The handle in the hand is 14.25 metres, and now he's on 13 metre rope. That's how long the actual rope is. This is the 13 metre rope, Mike Schillander, and he's got a completely different style, as you can see from Andy Mapple. On these 1, 3 and 5 boys, actually puts the shoulder in the water. That's his unique style. Very powerful skier, very tall, a big Swede, and a very easy pass for Mike Schillander.
He's got a bid 33, which was the score recorded by Andy Mapple.
The shortest of these 3 finalists that are the last 3 anyway is Michael Neville, not a 6-footer at all, and he's for his height I still think he's the most technically perfect slalom skier in the world, and he'll give them a run for their money. But as you can see, the style of Mike Schillander is quite unique.
As you see here, he's slam dunk around the third boy here, as Ian was talking about, and the fifth boy rather.
As the rope gets shorter, Mike gets lower into the water, especially on the number 1, 3 and 5 boys.
As you can see there, Mike, aged 30 years of age, from Sweden, world ranking number 6 in slalom. Got a good indication as to how good a slalom skier he is. Number 6, former slalom champion.
He was number 2 for quite a while, wasn't he? In the
That's
world
right.
ranking list. He must have slipped back a bit just this year.
Pretty critical there. Might have had a couple of bad tournaments, something which has dragged his score back down, but traditionally Mike and Andy have always sort of played it out for the winners circle, but he has got quite a unique style, Mike Schillander.
Interesting that he's sort of retired from the jumps now. I must say, a very wise man.
He's had some almighty crashes over the years, a couple of big falls here a few years back, and is quite happy to be a slalom specialist nowadays.
Well, I can't blame him for that. He's doing particularly well. Got a beat 33, which was the score recorded by competitor number 3, Andy Mapple.
He's here cutting through the gates. Round number 1. Oh, number 1. Round number 2. Good strong pull out of number 2. Round number 3 is working pretty hard here. Good strong pull through the weights. A little bit of a bubble round 4. Gets himself back together again. Round number 6 and out through the exit gates. He'll be happy with that. That gives him a chance to set himself up on the all-important 11.25 metre run.
Again, this is tactics. He'll be going for a win. He's still got Michael Neville to come, but he would be figuring anything round number 4 would be very nice. Number 4 boy. This is the replay of this one we've just seen.
So he'll pick up the number 1 that he gets here, and number 2. Pretty good form here, round number 3. Bit of a slam bunk here, round number 4. Strong pull through the weights. Round number 5 and 6 and out through the exit gates.
This will be just a fight now to do his best round each boy, and he'll really bullock his way through using a lot of strength, and probably technique will go out the door. All he wants to do is somehow get round number 4 the best way he can, get the ski round number 4 in any way possible to take the lead.
Neville warming up. Take a bit to do that today too.
Yes, we're in a different position this year, Peter. Of course, we're three levels up over the river, the Coventry Point, and it's even colder than last year.
If you suffer from vertigo, it doesn't help. Now, this guy's terrific, though. He's not a stylist, as we've mentioned, but he's a terrific competitor. And And you can see the purple flag there indicating the length of the rope, which is 11.25 metres.
He's here through the gates. Number one.
Oh, yeah.
Third number one. And number two.
Top the handle.
Gee, you'll be disappointed.
Oh, is he? What?
Not happy.
Actually, they were two good turns. I thought he was set.
Yeah, well, he certainly had a good number one there, and he was early round number one, good strong core round number two. He'd be bitterly disappointed. I don't know what happened round number two, but
We'll not be able to tell Mark when he gets back to the dock. Actually, you mentioned different locations. The dock is in a different place this year too. It's upstream from where we are rather than downstream.
Oh, I thought that was a great two, and just couldn't hold on to it.
I think he's gone for too much here, and I think he was trying to get too good at number two, perhaps. Through the gates. Great number one there. Strong pull out of number one.
Oh, if he could have hung on to that, he would have been set.
That sums it up, doesn't it? So Mick Neville will be back, a final competitor. Can he take it out? And then Slalom continues after this.
8:30.
The men's Slalom this afternoon. 30 years of age, I guess we'd call him a veteran now. He's aiming at his third Masters overall. Started on the 14.25 metre rope, and predictably Glenn and Ian didn't have too many problems making it.
No, pretty much a warm-up run for Mick. He is a very stylish skier. He's probably a little bit like Andy Mapple in that regard. As you pick it up there, he's cutting through the gates there. Doesn't get his body in the water nice and clean. Good strong pull through the weights.
He's always in the action in the slalom. He's just so consistent, and for his height, he's a fantastic slalom skier. Works very hard, and another one of those ones that annoys me. He hardly ever makes a mistake. Makes it look so easy.
13 metre line now. This is live.
Big round number two. Round number three. No trouble at all for Mick, pulling hard through the weights there. Doesn't get his body in the water nice and clean around number five. Round number six. Excellent slalom skier, Mick.
For these earlier runs, you've got to keep your concentration on the run you're on and not what you're out there in the water to chase. You've got to get that far down the track to attack the leading score, but you mustn't let your concentration drift to the shorter run later down the track. You've got to get each pass and complete each run, so concentration is very important. And very experienced skier will score this as we go. 2 points, 2 1/4, 2 1/2, 3, 3 1/4, 3 1/2, 4, 4 1/4, 4 1/2, 5, 5 1/4, 5 1/2, 6, and that's how each skier gets his points for a run. So that gives Michael Neville now 24 points. He'll be coming back to add to his score.
Mark Schillander finished with 31.5, and here he is with Kate.
Thank you very much, Peter. Yeah, Mike, a disappointing result to state the obvious. You went in as one of the favourites. What exactly happened?
Well, I felt good. The first three passes, 14, 13 and 12 metres, felt real good. And then I turned a little too hard round number one. I was definitely trying to go for 4 and take the lead before Mick went out.
We're looking at a replay of it now. Do you want to talk us through it?
Yeah, that was a way too hard number one. And then I was coming into 2, not too bad, and just breaking at the waist and turning a little too hard. But that's the way it goes.
Yes, well, you do have to be philosophical about these things, don't you? And you do have another chance tomorrow. Do you enjoy coming to Australia?
Yeah, this is my 8th time down here, so I've been here down plenty of times. I'm not jumping this year, concentrating on my Slalom events. That's why I wanted to put a good score on the board. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it tomorrow.
You've had some pretty horrific accidents in the jump here at Moomba, actually.
Yeah, I tore my shoulder apart about 3 years ago, and also had some knee trouble, but that's over with now.
Can you talk us through this particular run?
This is a very important pass for Mick. He's coming out his 12-metre line. It's looking very good here. Good number one. Yeah, this is looking real strong. No mistakes so far. Very early. He's going to run this pass, no problem. Oops, a little bubble on 5. Yeah, no problem.
So who would you pick at this stage, Andy Mapple or Mike?
It's hard to say. Time will tell.
Time will tell. Now, Helene has done terribly well today with the second. And how do you guys, do you tour together always?
Yeah, most of the time. We both live in Florida and train in Florida, and a men's tour and women's tour are at the same dates at the same sites. So yes, we travel together quite a bit.
That's fantastic. Well, we wish her well in the overall, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, a little bit different to the tennis tours, which take separate routes right throughout the world, except when they come together at the major tournaments. The man on screen could be headed for success here this afternoon in the Australian Unity Masters. One of the stylists in the field.
And that was a brilliant run from Michael Neville. Now, yesterday, the qualifying round, to be the last skier off, he actually did ski 3 boys on this pass we're about to see, so he's definitely capable of equaling what Andy Mapple has done, but of course he wants to get ahead. He wants something round number 4. He wants to win this event, and it'd be a big feather in his cap if he could do that against the world's number 1. He's definitely got a chance. This is, of course, the replay. This is the run that he's just completed. Still sitting in the water. We're watching the replay. And a great pass from Michael Neville.
His wife Karen is all but retired too, which is sad to see. Always a favourite here at the Masters.
Important to watch the number 1 boy here as Mick pulls out to the left. He must get a good number 1 in order to make 3 or 4 boys here. Oh, not a great number 1 either. No, he'd be disappointed with that. He's a little bit on the tail of the ski there, unable to turn the ski properly, and of course inside number 2. He'd be disappointed with that, Mick.
That gives victory to Andy Mapple.
I give Mick a score of 31, so
But it relegated Mick
wasn't
to
up to
third.
it, and Mick will drop to equal third, I think.
Yes, that's right, because Simon Hill had 31 too.
And you'll see him stand up on the back of the ski. The ski comes off its edge. And the rope course is so short it won't even reach the boy, so he has to stretch his body out round the boy to get any further. And slipped inside number 2 to score 31 points. So the winner in the slalom is Andy Mapple. The winner is now with Mark Beretta.
You with me now, Andy? When you first went out, you weren't too confident, or should I say when you came back in? It's a good result though.
Yeah, great result right now. Yeah, mixed skiing real well and Schillander skiing real well, and usually 3 at 38, normally you wouldn't feel like you'd win a tournament with 3 at 38, but it's like every year I come back to Moomba, you never know what's going to happen. It's going to never over to the fat ladies.
It's another one to add to your trophy cabinet. You've had a magnificent history here at Moomba.
Yeah, I really like coming to Moomba. You hear a lot of different things around the world where people don't like to come. It's a long way to come because we're coming off the winter and stuff. But I take it more of a challenge to myself. Because I don't usually start skiing till middle of January, and it really gives me something to train for. And I come to Moomba and I learn about my skiing. I use a tournament, win, lose, or draw to learn about my skiing, and then I know, to go back for the summer and know what I've got to work on.
Well, congratulations, Andy, and once again, we look forward to seeing you next year.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Andy.
Mick Neville, fantastic result from the Australian champion. Simon Hill, also the 27-year-old South Australian. He's a water ski coach, and he did fairly well to come in fourth from there. But a very